Has anybody ever heard about this vegan cafe? I think it's a vegan coffee house. I don't know how the hell that works. I mean, I guess coffee is in and of itself. Are coffee beans vegetables? Huh. Well, they're legumes, technically, right? They're beans. But they're not meat. They don't come from animal products, so I guess it's okay to drink coffee, I suppose. Is it okay to drink that Cafe Luwak? That coffee that comes from the some kind of a fucking rare cat eating coffee beans, and then it shits them out, and then they take the shit out beans, and they have this special taste because of all the gastric juices from the luwak or whatever the fuck the cat's name is. Would that be considered non-vegan? Because it came from an animal in part. I don't know. But anyway, some coffee house, vegan cafe coffee house, was imposing an 18% tax on men. And this was in Australia, of course, one of the top 5 feminist countries in the world, because men, on average in Australia, make 18% more than women. Yeah, of course, the wage gap is a myth. There's no such thing. There's an earnings gap. Men earn more, but that's because, on average, they do more dangerous jobs. They're willing to travel and move more often than women are. They work a lot more overtime. And so, of course, they make more money. It has nothing to do with discrimination. Discrimination is illegal if men and women do the exact same job for the exact same amount of hours, and they have the exact same experience. They'll make the exact same amount of money. But when you got a lot of women working as nurses and school teachers, and you got a lot of men working in STEM fields and as petroleum engineers or whatever, on that rig covered in black goop, significantly shortening their lifespan with all this exposure to all these nasty chemicals, they're going to make a lot more money. Duh. So that's all the wage gap is. It's not a wage gap. It's an earnings gap that reflects the different choices men and women make. That's all. But this coffee house, cafe, whatever, is run by a bunch of feminist, man-hating bitches, and I guess they thought that they could make more money off of a bunch of sucker, beta, blue-pilled simp guys who would fall for this. Don't know why they would think that. There's a lot of guys out there who are not beta, blue-pill simps, who don't want to pay an 18% surcharge for being men, who don't want to be discriminated against, and who know that the fucking wage gap is a myth, who are not going to frequent your establishment now. Okay, so here we go. Handsome Her Cafe shuts shop 2 years after introducing 18% man tax. It wasn't open for 2 years, by the way. It was open for a year and a half, maybe even a little less than that. It wasn't open for 2 years. This is great. Here's some pictures of this dump. Listen to the name, Handsome Her Cafe. You don't use the word handsome to refer to women. Men are handsome, women are beautiful. So you see, even right there in the name, you know that you're dealing with some nutty, radical, intersectional feminists. Handsome Her. Yeah, we're not going to use the normal, traditional, orthodox way of referring to men and women. We're going to flip the script and be unorthodox and create a new normal and send the message that we're deconstructing the patriarchy and words have no meaning and we can call women handsome and men beautiful. It doesn't matter. Reality is perception. Perception is reality. We're going to create a new normal. Yeah, where words have no meaning. Yeah, so Handsome Her Cafe shut shop 2 years, a year and a half after their 18% man tax. So a Melbourne cafe that made headlines around the world when it introduced a man tax says it's shutting shop on Sunday. Wow. I wonder why. I wonder why. Could it be that you marketed yourself as a female-only space while at the same time charging any man dim-witted enough to come in 80% more and thereby scaring off half of the population? Could that be why you're closing? And not to mention the fact that I'm sure there's some women out there who wouldn't go there because they also know that the wage gap is a myth. And even if they don't, they probably didn't approve of the sexist discrimination. So you've essentially cut off most of the male population. I can't imagine very many men wanting to go there, except maybe initially so they could virtue signal and say, hey, I went to that cafe and I paid an 18% surcharge. See, I'm a woke progressive male. I mean, except for some beta blue-pilled males, and let's be honest, they wouldn't have gone there very often, okay? Nobody wants to continually pay 18% more than everybody else. I don't care how woke or progressive they claim to be, okay? Boy, people don't like being treated unfairly, all right? Yeah, when Alex O'Brien and her co-owner opened the doors to Handsome Her in the hipster, suburb of Brunswick in August 2017, they made the house rules very clear. Here we go. They got house rules, by the way. Men are going to pay a surcharge even though they get a lesser degree of service and consideration from the staff. Wonderful. Listen to this. Women have priority seating. Oh, my God. Really? Why? Well, why? Are they pregnant? Are they pregos? No, this means all women. Why? Why? You're equal to a man. Why would you get priority? The men are paying an 18% surcharge, so supposedly we have some kind of equivalency here, right? Why are men not getting the same kind of service as women if they're paying more? To make up for what you believe is some gender wage gap that doesn't exist, men will be charged an 18% premium to reflect the gender pay gap, which doesn't exist. Respect goes both ways. Well, you're not respecting men, number one. Number two, respect is earned, it's not given. And number three, I think you're thinking of consideration. And even on that note, you're not really showing these men much consideration. Come on in, pay 18% more. We'll leave you standing while all the women sit down, and we're going to treat you like crap. While the surcharge was enforced for only 1 week every month, it was the message scrolled across a chalkboard that saw the vegan cafe blew up the internet and become the punching bag of Melbourne. Oh, boy. We're trying to change our coffee culture. Coffee culture? There's a coffee culture? Really? Okay. So we are not doing disposable takeaway cups. Instead, you can stand in at the espresso bar or borrow a mug from our emergency mug wall to take away for $4. What? Wow. You know what I see here? I see just some craven opportunists who are looking to grab some cash by trying to proliferate a myth. Okay? Proliferate a myth. And listen to this. They're not having disposable takeaway cups. If you want to buy coffee here, in addition to the minimum $3.80 it costs for this, it costs maybe a nickel. You also must spend $4 on a mug. I think bad business practices had something to do with this place closing. So let me get this straight. I go in there to buy a cup of coffee. I'm spending $3.80 on the cup of coffee, and I also have to buy a fucking mug that I don't want to fucking buy. Oh, great. So at minimum, I'm spending $7.80 on a cup of fucking black coffee. And I also have to bring my own mug in the future, or every fucking time I come in, I have to spend another $4 on a fucking mug. And what kind of mug is this? Is this the kind with the top that's made of aluminum and is insulated? Or is it just some fucking glass mug like this? What, am I going to walk down the fucking street carrying this motherfucker? How am I going to put that in my car? You got that little fucking slot that pulls out there to put the coffee cup in, the disposable coffee cup that they don't even carry. I think I'm starting to see why this place went out of business. Minus the fucking man tax. Oh my God. So stupid. While the surcharge, it was only enforced once every month. Yeah, when we opened Handsome Her, what a horrible name. Handsome Her. When somebody says a handsome woman, what I think of is a broad that looks like a dude, okay? In 2017, we expected that perhaps we might make a stir through our brazen public discussions of structural inequality and oppression. And this is the problem when you get a bunch of activists open up a business, okay? They don't really care about the business, and they try to use the business to spread their activist message. Essentially, the business itself becomes a vehicle for the ideology, and they really don't give a fuck about the business. I bet you the product sucked as well, okay? I bet you the coffee was bad. I bet you whatever the food that they served was bad because they thought they didn't really have to make a quality product because we're not really here to provide a product. We're here to fucking send a message to people. Yeah. Oh, my God. Structural inequality. Fuck off. What oppression? What oppression when you can open up a restaurant that openly, a cafe, whatever the fuck you want to call it, selling mugs. I'm going to walk down the street with my daily cup of coffee and a fucking glass mug. Fuck off. So stupid. Talk about oppression. Jesus Christ. Yeah, right. You're oppressed when you can open up a fucking cafe and charge men 18% more and openly discriminate against them. And nobody calls you on it. And people pat you on the back and call you a fucking hero. Yeah, oh, yeah, you're oppressed, all right. Can you imagine if a man tried to do this? Impose a Wayman tax? Oh, my God. The man tax blew up the internet. They thought they could get a little drama marketing going on, too. Attract more attention. Yeah, that might last for a short period of time with people coming in to try and virtue signal and send a message and, make themselves feel good about themselves. And virtue signal to other people, but it won't last long. Nobody wants to pay $7.80 for a cup of coffee and walk around with a fucking glass mug on the street. Greedy cunts. They're not good business people. In addition to this man tax. Oh, boy. So, the man tax blew up the internet, an idea that we didn't think was all too radical. This is the funny thing. People that live in these progressive ideological bubbles, they never think their actions are radical because that's the world they live in. I grew up in a house that was extremely dysfunctional and violent. And for a long fucking time, I thought that was normal. Until I got out of that environment, got exposed to the rest of the world, met new people, got exposed to other people's families and realized, holy fuck! That was some fucked up shit. These people have never been exposed to anything outside their little bubble. They've never been challenged on their ideology because they remain in that bubble, and they only communicate with people who believe what they believe. So sure, they think it's not radical. Oh, this isn't that radical. Oh, no. We'll discriminate openly against men while we're always talking about how discrimination is evil. Discrimination is bad. I love it. Discrimination is bad and evil, but we get to discriminate. This is the old two wrongs makes a right logical fucking fallacy. So stupid. And it's based on a lie. The wage gap has been disproven time and time again. Talk about living in your own fucking echo chamber. You'd have to not know that the wage gap is a myth. So it goes on to say, we didn't think it was that radical, yet the way the world responded showed us how fragile masculinity is. Yeah, right. Because we don't want to pay more money. I guarantee you women would complain even more if you tried to charge them a Wayman tax and solidified the necessity for us to confront and dismantle patriarchy. See, this business doesn't exist to serve customers. It just exists to be a social justice warrior fucking vehicle to deliver a narrative. And they claim that they were giving this 18% surcharge to charity, which I don't buy. I don't believe any of that, especially when they started to lose money, and now they're closing down. I bet they pocketed that. So essentially, and even if that were the case, what the fuck? So you essentially think you exist as just some way to extort money out of men through guilting them and then give that to Wayman's charities? Oh, my God. That's what they say they were doing with the money. Yeah, it's not your job to... Oh, boy. Whatever happened to the days where your job in a coffee shop was to make coffee? Was to make coffee and allow the customer to have the convenience of coming in and walking out with a cup of fucking coffee, and you give them a disposable fucking cup and you don't require them to buy a mug because you're a dummy who can't really look into the future very much. You don't know fucking anything about a business. If you try to squeeze as much money as possible out of a customer, it'll be obvious to them. And they'll see that you really don't give a fuck about them. and you only care about what you can get out of them. No disposable mugs. We have no disposable mugs. You must buy a mug. And they got a whole wall here of different mugs. So it's a mug. So they don't even have like, the little top. You go into fucking McDonald's and you buy their shitty coffee and you poke the hole in the top and you sip it. It's not, they don't even have sip cups. The mugs that you buy are some ceramic shit. How the fuck can I drink coffee out of that if I'm driving to work or I'm stopping in to get a fucking cup of coffee? So stupid. Oh my God. So the morning coffee traffic, they've eliminated that. Because people in the morning going to work, they don't have time to go in with their own fucking mug and sit down and in a leisurely manner, sip fucking coffee and read the news. They got to get to fucking work. They want to go in, get a fucking coffee cup and go out with the cup and throw the cup away. Oh no, we have a very clever plan to make more money off people. No. People won't come in because it's not convenient. It goes on to say, yes, we are the evil, discriminatory, man-hating dykes who charge men more. When didn't you know the wage gap doesn't even exist? That's right, you dummy. It doesn't. So after a year and a half in the spotlight, Handsome Her has confirmed that Sunday will be its last day of trade. But of course, the Handsome Her Cafe claims it's not because we charged a man tax and we don't know how to run a business and we're just a bunch of social justice warrior activists who had the dream of opening a coffee cafe to try and spread social justice. Oh no, that's not why. They insist it's not closing because of male tears. They hate men or misogynistic vitriol for men's rights activists. Could it be because you hate men? And men know that, so they don't come in? We are closing down because we are young, educated, and off on our next adventure, its owners explain. Oh, that's bullshit. They're just not getting enough business. You don't close down successful businesses, okay? For those of you who have run your own small business, you know how much time, blood, sweat, and tears it takes. Initially, yeah, but once you get it running well and you get a system going, men are much more better at systemization, by the way. Women, on average, spend a lot less time working in their own businesses than men, 60% less, which is why most entrepreneurs are men. Don't tell that to a woman, though. She will cry systematic oppression, not biological differences. Yeah, they got a wall of mugs I'm looking at right now. A lot of ugly fucking mugs. Yeah, I'm going to walk down the street or take that fucking coffee mug in my car with no top on it. I hit the fucking brakes and coffee splashes all over the place and my fucking $7.80 cup of fucking shitty instant Sanka is all over the fucking dashboard. Oh, boy. And it goes on to say, we're looking forward to a slower, more deliberate way of living out in the world and putting our feminist, vegan, low-waste politics into practice. You see? The business for them wasn't a business. It was just a way to propagandize people. Oh, my God. For the cafe's final day of trade, it's offering a pay-as-you-feel scheme from 3 p.m. until stocks run out for all food items. By the way, I read some Yelp reviews on this, some TripAdvisor reviews. Horrible, horrible. One guy who had like a score in the hundreds, a very reliable critic of varying establishments, hotels and restaurants, talked about how the food was crap, the service was crap. They called him a vile beast. He had to wait 5 minutes just to get a waitress who was doing nothing more than chit-chatting with other waymen in the establishment. They didn't take their business seriously. They essentially saw it as nothing more than a vehicle to propagandize people and to punish men by imposing a tax. Of course, we already know this, right? Yeah. Get woke, go fucking broke, okay? Horrible, horrible business. My God. And vegan? How much of the population is vegan? 1%? Less than 1%? It's about on par with how many gay people there are. There might be more vegans, but I doubt it, right? A lot of gays are vegan, too. So you got a lot of crossover there. But talk about limiting your client base. Okay, Wayman? Men are welcome, but only if they pay more. So, you're essentially saying men are not welcome. Even if they are, because you want more moolah out of them. They're not going to come in because they don't want to pay more. And now you're selling vegan food only. Wow. Vegan, women, no men unless they pay more. Jeez. You've essentially limited your clientele to a point where you couldn't possibly be a viable business. Oh, boy. Brilliant. Yeah, they said they're well off. I'm getting the feeling these are some privileged white kids. Yeah, privilege. They opened a business with money for mommy and daddy, and now mommy and daddy are going to give them some more money for the next project because mommy and daddy are woke. Hipster doofuses, too. Oh, God. All right, that's enough. That's enough. God. This is what happens when dumb millennial morons open businesses and try to use them to sell propaganda and not a product. They go out of business.